Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining this wonderful Power of One evening with Eileen Colts. What's up, Eileen?
Hey, Shane. Not much. Everything's going really good.
And our other co-author, Paulo Pinto. What is up? Calling all the way from Australia.
Hey, guys. It's great to be back with you.
Well, we almost got the whole crew here. Vanessa VA, unfortunately, couldn't get away from her work, so of course she sends her love to everybody here. But so the three of us are here, and wow, it's been crazy, you know.
Yeah, and it's been at least a year since the three of us got together on this live stream.
Very long time.
We need to do it more often, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I particularly love the Law of One, and I always think, man, I'd love to do some stuff with you. There's another YouTuber, Aaron Apke, that gets into the Law of One. I'm like, man, it'd be so cool to have like a Law of One panel at some point and discuss it because it's such a fascinating topic. And then now with this whole everything going on right now, it appears to be the harvest. Of course, people don't like that word because it sounds like we're,
being
vegetables, eaten. Right? Right. So we're getting plucked out. But I like to think of it like a graduation is more how I guess the Law of One puts it. And they actually said this time, 30 years from back when it was in the early 80s. So here we are at this wonderful time.
Yeah.
That's in just a comment on the harvest. If you watch that movie, Jupiter Ascending, you will see how the so-called Illuminati, how they couch this expression, the harvest, as a horrible, bad thing, and that was just one of the attempts to distort the whole thing, the whole idea.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I think you did. I saw the movie, and then I think you did a video on it, didn't you, Paulo?
Yes. Yep.
So I should say his channel is called Spirit Walker, all one word, on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I definitely have it linked below too. So yeah. Let's talk on the COVID thing here in Australia really fast, just so people here kind of know what it's like down there. You guys are in lockdown, pretty much like the States. Are people acting crazy or?
So we are in lockdown. There has been a huge increase in the number of people accessing, suicide hotlines and mental health hotlines and things. So people are getting pretty stressed out around here. So we are coming out of the lockdowns, of the worst of the measures, and we didn't have a very high number of cases and a very high number of deaths. I think that's because the virus, just like anything else, the virus hit Australia with a little bit of a delay.
Right.
And people were already used to the idea of being locked up.
Well, let me ask you this though, because you're in the southern hemisphere. So as we're moving into summer, you're moving into winter. Has it been a mild fall for you at this point? I mean, has it been still sort of warm from your summer?
It is still pretty much very, very mild. But the thing is that you're absolutely right. So you guys had your winter there, and the virus hit precisely in winter. So people here in the south, they're really concerned that the virus plus the cold weather is going to be a bit of a second wave or a bigger wave than we had in Feb and March.
It's interesting because I was telling Shane, the only mainstream media that I have seen is Sky News Australia giving the actual numbers of coronavirus versus the predicted numbers from the WHO and the CDC. Did you catch that report, Paulo? Because I thought that was very honest reporting, and I have yet to see anything on our mainstream, even though alt news is covering it, that shows the CDC and the WHO have extremely lowered their projections. Did you see that? Did you catch that Sky News report?
Yeah, I saw. So the idea is that there are some people really researching the actual numbers and comparing with previous instances, previous diseases that we had. The only problem, as I was talking to you before before we went live, the only problem is that still has a very low reach. The wider population, the population still looks at mainstream TV and mainstream news outlets, and Sky News is still seen as a bit of a fringe. But we know that the numbers are cooked, and it's all part of the strategy to bring the population to a level of fear that is really overblown, and it helps them. It helps them in that sense.
Well, I wanted to bring out some numbers that they were mind blowing. I sent them to Eileen. I'm like, do you believe these numbers? I can't believe it, because when you compare the United States with Japan, now consider the size. If you look at a map and you look at how small, Japan's like the size of a large state maybe in the United States, yet they have about half the people, almost half the amount of people crammed on this island, basically. I mean, it's got to be like New York City or something. I mean, with that many people in such a small area. At any rate, they didn't even have a lockdown there, and they have less than 1% of the deaths that we have. So the actual numbers, they have less than 1,000 with 126 million people there. They've got 850 deaths, where we have 100,000 deaths with 328 million. And then it's just so mind-blowing because we were locked down and they weren't. And then you found out that India's numbers it was equally as shocking when you look at India's numbers, right?
Yeah, India has like 1 billion people, and last week they were reporting almost 1,000 coronavirus deaths out of 1 billion. And I'm like, these numbers are so crazy. It makes it sound like the virus acts completely differently based on which country it's in, right?
Right.
Well, but that's exactly what you would expect if it was an engineered virus.
Right.
Oh, I see. Yes, if you're talking about genetic targets that the virus has, yes, then it would act differently depending on which country it was in.
Oh, you mean if it was like actually genetically designed, or because I've heard that too, genetic factors playing a role in not only age, because they've tried to put the focus on age, but there is some genetic factors in there that should be considered as well.
Yeah, that it seems like there is a genetic signature or something that allows the virus to attack certain countries more than others. But the only thing that I wanted to say as well is that it's still too early. So as we just spoke, we had you guys in the northern hemisphere just had your winter.
Yeah.
So down here in the south, we're going to go through our winter now.
Yeah.
So we could only really say something meaningful about the number of cases after we had at least one full cycle.
Yeah. So it might die out while it's still warm before it gets colder. That's what I was kind of thinking. It might get lucky for you, and then for us, it might get lucky that it's starting to get so hot that it's probably just because they say it's the colder months where it spreads more, right?
Yeah, and that it lives longer on colder surfaces, and that heat over 80 degrees kills it quite quickly. But we've also got to factor in whether or not the government in Japan and other countries with really low incidence of it are actually monetizing it. Like our government, Paulo, I don't know if you do this in Australia, will pay a hospital $13,000 for each coronavirus diagnosis. At the same time, the hospitals have been told to send everybody home and do no elective surgeries. So a hospital can't financially stay open unless they have a lot of coronavirus diagnoses to get that money coming in from the federal government. And then, of course, to put somebody on a ventilator, the government would pay each hospital $39,000 as soon as they put somebody on a ventilator. So it was incentivized with money.
Definitely, and it's very interesting that you would say that. I didn't hear similar cases in Australia of this type of analysis, but I've heard, I know of cases in Brazil, where I'm originally from, that people that died of cancer, and after the machines were switched off, etc., the doctors came to the family and asked them to sign a COVID-19 certificate, because that would give the hospital more funding and so on and so forth. So the numbers.
So they're doing it in Brazil as well, then.
Oh, big time.
So maybe they didn't do that in India and Japan, which is why they have a minuscule amount of reported cases.
No
because
lockdown.
Maybe they didn't incentivize it with money, and they didn't do a lockdown.
And I got to tell you guys, this is the whole mask thing is really. I got to tell you, one case I've heard of someone passing out because they're wearing a mask in their car alone for some reason, and they passed out. Then yesterday, I was coming home from picking my wife up, and there was on the other side, the traffic was stopped, and there was an old lady. She had her mask pulled down, but she is literally laying in the road with these cars that had stopped, and they're like huddled around her with the ambulance coming. And my only thought is she tried to walk up to the store with that mask on, got overheated. And, and then now she's surrounded by all these people with the mask down. She would have been better off not to wear one.
Well, all medical studies say that it doesn't prevent the transmission of viruses. That's the first thing. And secondly, sick people are supposed to wear it to prevent spreading saliva. That's all. And healthy people are not supposed to wear it because it makes them sicker. It makes you breathe in the carbon dioxide. It cuts down on your oxygen levels. And the breathing puts bacteria inside the mask. And people are not throwing them away every hour or 2 or 3 times a day. So they're breathing in extra bacteria. So in all ways, the mask is going to make people sicker. And even our government didn't mandate mask wearing, but I went into a Wells Fargo. I didn't have to wear a mask, but everybody in serving did. And then I tried to go into a Sprint, and they said Sprint has a corporate policy now. You do not walk into a Sprint unless you have a mask on. So I'm like, why is Sprint doing something that isn't even, it's a medical decision. It's not a corporate decision.
Right. Just before we went live, just before I connected with you all, I was watching a high impact flicks vlog video from the YouTube channel, and it was basically a horde of people wearing masks, yelling and cussing at this one lady in the store that didn't have a mask on, saying, "Get the F out." And I mean, it was a mob of people, and the one guy was even pulling his mask down to yell at her. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
My God.
What's going on with these people? It's like, oh.
Going back to the harvest guys, it's like it's pushing people into who they really are. Like, are they going to be kind to people even if they don't agree with them? Or are they going to go for mob mentality and mob rule concerning whether you wear a mask or not?
That's right. And there is one element of the mask that is also very important, is that it is kind of suffocating as well. So if they wanted to make you feel hopeless and scared and so on and so forth, that's a very good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Or hush.
I saw some pictures
like
of
hushing
planes.
you.
And they used to put like a metal contraption over their nose and mouth. And it wasn't to prevent them from biting or eating. It was to prevent them from vocalizing. So when you see a lot of people and you just see this, you just think they've been silenced.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Very symbolic.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So it brings us back to the symbology of control. So we control you.
Right.
And now
the psychology of it, really, yeah.
So now you can't even, speak well and breathe well.
But
This
now
is
it's
the
a
level of
corporate decision. It's
control.
no longer a CDC decision or a Trump decision or a government federal decision or a state decision. It's now a corporate decision of
Or a
whether or not
community
you enter
decision
somewhere.
where
Yeah.
you've got this mob of people that decide they're going to take it upon themselves to police everyone who's not wearing a mask. Because now they frame it where it's like you're not wearing the mask for yourself, you're wearing it for everyone else. So when you go out there without a mask on, all of a sudden you're the selfish person that's not protecting everyone else. See, they frame it in a way that, you know, they just flip everything around, you know. When
It
in
is flip. It's
actuality,
like vaccines as well. You know, everybody must get a vaccine, but technically, if you've had the vaccine, you're protected from the unvaccinated person. But they look at the unvaccinated person as a danger to them, even though they've had the vaccine. So that's total flip psychology.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's the instruments of control and the well, fear mongering. It's much easier to get to you when you are fearful.
Okay, why,
Which
guys? You know what? Let's talk about why. Is this just to lower the ascension that we're going through and the sense of oneness and the awakening and the Mandela effect? Or is it political to like kind of nudge towards a police state or martial law where everybody lives in a prison society? What do you guys think about that? Not to be too negative. Why are they doing this?
well, I think they just try to appeal to that primitive part of our brain, the fight or flight. So anytime they can make you feel fearful about another politician or the opponent, if you will, then they might be able to get you to be motivated out of fear of the other person and vote for them or something like that. Or fear that you're going to catch something, so you wear the mask or you stay home, or you know, you don't want to get people you love sick, or you don't want, you know what I mean? And so it's all fear driven. That's why I was telling people that at a time like this, when you're feeling like, how should I participate? What should I take part in? I would say lead by your heart and not by fear, because a lot of times you'll just go and maybe go to a protest because you're like, if I don't do something, they're going to steal all my rights, and you're not motivated from the heart at that point. You know, it's like, it's the fear that's driving you to do something. I think it's more important than ever to really tap into our heart at this time, because maybe you are supposed to go to the protest, but if you go in the heart, maybe you're supposed to help with violence or something and calming people down, or go for a completely different reason. You know what I mean? So
I do.
When you're in that reptilian brain, as they call it, or that lower brain where it's fight or flight, you're going to respond much differently. That's why I say that conscious breath, when you get triggered, is so helpful, because it takes you out of that lower brain and gives you a moment to sort of not react from the emotion of a situation, and gives yourself just a few seconds to tap into the higher mind. And it's really remarkable, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, Jane. I really like what you mentioned, what you said. That's so going from your heart. And I was considering this the other day, and I think I even made a video out of this. Is if you go back to the law of one, and you assess how the supposed negative path operates, basically they try to evolve the three lower chakras. You know, the base chakra, the sexual chakra, and then the solar plexus. And then they bypass heart chakra. They go straight to the throat chakra, which is wisdom, and then to the third eye, which is access to intelligent energy, and you know, being psychic and so on and so forth. So they actually have to completely bypass heart chakra. So basically, when you are operating from the heart, not only are you guaranteeing that you are on the positive path, but you're actually completely bypassing their system of control, because there is a type of energy, a frequency of energy that they cannot really operate in. So it's exactly what you mentioned. The only defense is go back and do things from your heart. I know that it's a kind of corny, but that I think was Roxette, you know, like listen to your heart.
Right, yeah.
But that is the defense, the most powerful defense that we have against this type of caper.
You know, I gotta chime in really fast here, because during meditation I actually got this message that we become outliers when we are able to step out of the fear, because we're no longer, they can't predict what we're going to do. They can no longer control us by doing one thing and knowing that we're going to respond a certain way. So we actually become these outliers to the system, these key players that aren't driven by them. We're actually driving the system. But we're flipping it around, you know, and
Flipping it around on them.
Like Greer says, if you can get enough people, like 1%, you can just flip the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was going to say, the protests. Okay, looking at the whole picture, and this is kind of my viewpoint. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing or not, which is okay because I'm open to other viewpoints all the time because I'm never stuck in stone. I always want to know more. I kind of think that they emptied the prisons here at the beginning of COVID to make room for protesters who wouldn't go along with the lockdown, but that didn't happen.
Right, and to put people out on the street that are probably more likely to loot and raid and commit crimes as well. So right,
yeah. And then you had peaceful protests on the lockdown, and we didn't have any agent provocateurs, which are people who are paid or they're with an agency and they go in and they run down protesters. So other protesters are afraid to go out and protest. You might get run over.
We should tell people about that clip. Probably.
Yeah, or we should. Teenagers in my house have seen that clip. They're passing it to each other on TikTok, so it's a really well-known clip by now.
Okay, so they're pulling it down like almost as soon as it gets put up, but it's basically what appears to be a police officer dressed in all black with a gas mask on, going down by the protesters and busting out the AutoZone windows to begin. Right, and they're like, "What are you doing, man? What are you?" You know, and they're trying to stop them from doing this. And then one of them appears to like recognize him as a police officer, and it's like, "You're a cop, aren't you?" You know, and they're following the guy, and he's like threatening to, you know, telling him not to follow him and stuff.
He's got an umbrella to stop the glass from hitting him. Yeah. It's like so premeditated.
Yeah, and he didn't look angry. He was just walking and quickly breaking the windows like he was just on a mission. You know,
he had more than a hammer. They have these metal things that you have in those kind of cars where you can break a window instantly to escape. It was that kind of a piece of equipment he was using, because he'd go bang,
and
then
they don't break
whole
easy.
Window 12 by 6 would just crumble, and then he'd go bang, and the next 12 by 6 foot window would crumble.
Where did he get all this equipment? I mean, that's not something that you're gonna. And they even said they dropped off some places. They dropped off like pallets of bricks on the street as if they're going to start construction, just so people will have stuff to throw. Are you kidding me?
So this is French. This is called agent provocateur. They're people who, through history, through centuries, have been known to be sent in. But in our case, it's sent in to start the riots, to make the protesters look bad, and then maybe to encourage the protesters around them to also throw bricks and go loot Target. But it needs somebody to kick it off. So to be against the protest, you go in and cause mayhem and chaos so that the protesters look evil and out of control. But
like it's something has to be done, and martial law, of course, and so one thing leads to another. So.
Exactly. So I'm just like, I do feel that I have a sense of that happening. Also, I wanted to know what you guys think about the videos out there and the reports out there that they say that both of them, the man who died, George Floyd, and the police officer who killed him, worked at the same club as bouncers. They knew each other. Have you guys caught any of that information? I can't verify it.
Right. I've also heard that they were that the police officer that just got arrested was seen at, like, he was a crisis actor from the Boston bombing and Sandy Hook. I don't know. That's just what I heard. So
well, the news team went to the police officer's home, supposedly, and then talked to his neighbors. And the neighbors came out on live television and said, "Oh, we don't know he's a cop. We've never seen him in uniform, and we've never seen his police car." What? Ding, 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 ding. All the bells are going off for everybody with that one.
So I don't know. And it's like they said, and and it's like, I don't know. If anybody wants to hear more about that, Floor Brune and John X Army kind of did one where they kind of talked about some stuff. That's how I found out about that clip of the guy breaking the windows. And so I don't know. And they clearly they've been doing this for a long time.
And really graceful. She just did one too. She said, "Who does it benefit?" And she did one on the same topic. Sorry, Paulo.
Yeah, no, just one of the photos. It was a clip that I found very amazing. It was the clip of some the police riot army arresting one of the rioters, and then when they put the guy down, they could see that the person being arrested had exactly the same type of boots that the police was using, with the same markings, the same brand, exactly the same thing. And it's funny that if they're trying to do this, and I think that's the case, they aren't even really being very careful.
That's what I was just telling Eileen. It's like they're so desperate now that they're making tons of mistakes. It was like by the time I heard about this incident, they had already sort of debunked it as being fake, and I'm like, wow, they're getting quick. It's like they're so sloppy with it nowadays. By the time I even hear about it, they've already had all the proof that it didn't even look like it really happened. They're just trying to get the people riled up.
It looked weird. If you guys watch the 8-minute tape, it looked weird. It looked like he was MK Ultra'd or in a trance. There was not any normal interaction with the people standing on the sidewalk saying, "You're going to kill him. Get off, get off." And the filming, and from the cop, no reaction, staring off into space. And I'm like, this is just weird. It just doesn't look natural or real or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't even get to see the first video. I only saw the one that they released, and they said, no, there's a second angle or something. So by the time I even found out about it, they had already pulled that first video.
The second angle is weirder because the first angle shows the one police officer talking to people and the other guy leaning on his neck. And the other angle from across the street shows 4 of them on him. Like behind the cop car, there were another 2 or 3 people on top of him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. I don't know what to think of it. It's just all a show anymore. I don't really believe much of anything that I see on TV anymore, to be honest with you.
I mean, has it worked? I mean, did it take our minds off the lockdown? Yes. Did it stop the protests on the lockdown? Yes. Did it take our minds off of mandatory vaccines? Yes. Is that what's needed to burn a city down, to take a country's mind off of everything else that's going on? I don't know anymore. I honestly don't know.
Do you think they were expecting to get the people riled up more than they did, just from what had happened thus far? Being told to stay at home and
not to go that way, because usually you get Black and African American protests against white police brutality. What happened this time? If you looked at those crowds, they were white, Black, Latino, Asian. It brought everybody out. It brought everybody together because the act itself was so brutal that nobody saw race anymore. So I'm sure that made some heads start spinning. Like, whoa, what have we done here?
That's right. That's right. Because these guys are the vast minority. They're a tiny, tiny little group of people. So they actually need to control us. They need to put us in a state of anger and divide and conquer, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And when people like the demonstrators unite in terms of race to protest against something, it's something that blows their heads out of the water, because they're really not expecting that.
Mm-mm. And it happened big time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It seems like everything keeps backfiring on them, and it's like it's just beautiful to see people come together like that, and just for humanity, not for race, and
even police officers are speaking out about it. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And saying, there are some good police officers, and they're coming out and saying, in all different races, this is not right. This is not how we operate. This is not what we're supposed to do. So if anything, it's brought us all closer together rather than further apart. Although these huge riots might change some other people's minds into thinking, oh my God, I'll never protest. It's too scary to protest.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. So when you, when I, in my research, I found out that basically what we're going through with COVID-19 is maybe 1/10 of what we were supposed to go through. When you do have karma, and humanity has a lot of collective karma, you have to go through it. You have to expunge that in some way. But the intensity, whether it's going to be crippling or it's going to be just uncomfortable, the intensity is determined by your views. and by your growth in conscience. And basically what's happening is that we had something like 1984 prepared for us. So it was a total police state. And what we are going through now is something that it's bad, but it's much milder.
Oh, I agree.
And the reason is that we have grown in some ways. So some people more than others, but we have grown. And but anyway, there is still a kind of a fragment of karma that you have to go through, and these riots, and as well as the lockdowns, they're just a representation of that.
Don't you feel like it's a catalyst, like the Law of One talks about? It's like this, it just hit us like this grand catalyst that it seems to either be pushing people to be more positive or more negative.
Yes.
You know?
Yes,
I'm a little worried about that, guys, because I'm getting more negative. I'm feeling more positive about my outlook and us going in the right direction and healing and fixing this. But I'm getting more negative about people who are literally drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm like, okay, all right, I've had enough. I got to move on to somebody else who hasn't drunk the Kool-Aid. I'm getting less patient with Kool-Aid drinkers who watch CNN 24 hours a day. And then if they talk to me, it's all fear, and race riots and, lock yourself away and make sure you got a lot of masks. And I'm like, I can't talk to you anymore. I can't relate anymore. So in that way, I'm getting less loving and less patient. Not less loving, but less patient.
All right.
What do you guys? You guys aren't like that. You'll just sit back and listen to all that and just.
I just see it as like people being sort of unconscious. You know what I mean? It's like they're not quite awake yet, and it's like, I don't know. You wouldn't really blame, your half asleep kid for saying mixing something up or something, and it's like the same thing. It's just like they're not quite awake yet. They're not quite aware of the lies. But that's what, and I think it came out in, what they're doing with their whole experience, being in fear like that. That's what I was saying. I don't really feel like the catalyst, sure, it pushes them into more fear, but do they allow themselves to be more unloving as a result of it? Maybe. And if they do, maybe it pops them down in the...
It's more panicky.
Right. Well,
although some of them try to report each other, like,
that's why I think it's helpful
Nazis
to look at
do.
it. I think that's why it's helpful to look at it as service to self or service to others. If it pushes them to be more selfish, they start hoarding, they start stealing from others just to feed you know what I mean? And it's like that kind of panic.
But that's a very good point, Shane. But it's more than just service to self or service to others. It's actually the people that are stubbornly not making a decision about either path. So the Law of One talks about that.
That's a good point.
The Law of One says that we have that the Earth is comprised of mostly 3D repeaters. So it's people that couldn't care. So if they like their kids, their wife, and so on and so forth, but if they have a chance to backstab a workmate to get a promotion, they'll do it.
Right.
So it's like people that refuse to make a decision, and this is what we have to face on a daily basis. If you're watching this video, chances are you have already made your decision. So you're going somewhere. But the thing that scared me, well, it didn't scare me, but it was a very good surprise, was that when I was looking at the Bible, well, before that, the Law of One talks about this three-way split. So service to self, go to one place. Service to others goes to another place, presumably the New Earth. Mm-hmm. And then this vast mass of people that don't want to decide, don't want to make a decision. And I thought that was just a Law of One thing. Mm-hmm. But then when I looked at the Bible, and it's Revelation 3:15 to 3:16, and just listen to it. It actually made the hair on the back of my neck, rise up. because it actually says Revelation 3:15. I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. Would that you either were either cold or hot, or it would be preferable that you were either cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm, neither cold nor hot, I will spit you out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never read that. I mean, I had to read the whole Bible once a long time ago. I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
That's the one that
So-
the Christians always give me a hard time about, the whole unbiased and on-offense. It's like, it's not actually what it means, you guys. It doesn't mean I'm like lukewarm. It just means that I don't jump to conclusions or judge anybody for what
You're
they believe.
open-minded.
Open-minded.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So it's all in the plan. It's all meticulously planned.
Yeah.
And we are
But
just going
let's
through.
analyze that, Paulo. It almost seems like the people who are on one side of that extreme are the perpetrators that we see manipulating, oppressing, suppressing. Very,
Yes.
very few in numbers. Then on the other side of the extreme are us, our community that sees through the veil. And then in the middle are the gazillions of people who see nothing. They don't know they're being manipulated. They can't see through the veil. I mean, is that what that means? Or do you have to be good or bad? Do you have to be good
No.
or bad?
This is precisely what it means. This is precisely what it means. So basically what happens is when this passage here in Revelation says the hot, this would be not only the positive side, but also the people that are trying to improve in love and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
The cold are the other way, that the negative path, and the law of one kind of tells that there is some way for you to progress in consciousness through the negative path as well.
Yeah, like 95% rotten or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. exactly. And these, but now the thing is, these are not the people, the agent provocateurs or anything. These are their bosses.
All right.
Yeah, these
The
are
people
the
that are
real heartless manipulators of humanity who don't care.
That's right.
Well,
Anybody suffer.
let's get Paulo's, because we were actually talking about this. People that sort of are kind of in the middle, and we've talked about how the law of one is talks about things like what's happening now as being catalysts to sort of push us from being lukewarm, one way or the other. You're going to either be hot or cold. Hopefully this event pushes you one way or another and makes you decide. So a lot of people have just been working and stuff, and now all of a sudden you're at home. You have to make some decisions about maybe the job, maybe about your family, maybe whatever. So it's a catalyst in so many different ways, what we see going on here. So what do you feel about people in the middle that sort of get wrapped up in the lies? They totally buy the media, what the media is saying, hook, line, and sinker. They're totally in fear right now. They're totally low vibe because, do you feel like their low vibe will ruin their chances, make it as if they flunk and have to redo the level? They're sort of go in the lukewarm crowd, or do you feel like it just really depends on where their heart is, how loving or whatever? What do you feel like?
Well, I think that you can't really judge people by
right.
by what you see, and because you really don't know what the intentions are and so on and so forth. But right. the idea is that we are in a planet that is, according to the law of one and Dr. Scott Mandelker, we are amongst a lot of 3D repeaters. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I am one of them, because I did some work and realized that I was actually a very bad guy in past.
We all were.
Don't
feel bad. We
yeah, exactly. But then what's happening in this particular nexus is that Earth itself is going to go through a change into fourth density positive. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that the negatives and the lukewarms, they just won't have the energy to stay here anymore.
Right.
So they'll have to be sent to other planets, and they're going to have, if they're negative, they're going to go to a planet that is in accordance to that vibration. If they are lukewarm, they're going to have to go back. Some will go back to planets where they are still in the banging rocks together and
right.
hiding in a cave. Others will be going to planets that are slightly more evolved, and they're going to have to so it is a repetition. They are flunking.
Right.
Well, and Dolores
And,
Cannon, talk about her. Did you read Dolores Cannon, Paulo?
Yes, some of her,
and so did Shane.
Her books, not everything.
So Dolores Cannon's New Earth split doesn't really talk about the negatives going to their own place to continue evolving. That's the only thing she kind of leaves out. She bases it on hypnosis, right, for like 40 years. And the collective, reaching the higher consciousness of the collective that she said she called the SC, the subconscious. But later in her later years, she changed it and said it really is a higher consciousness of humanity. And she said it's based on vibratory match. Like if your vibration matches the vibration of New Earth, that's where you will go. So in a way, these poor people who are being put into low vibration by riots and COVID and all these other things, like losing their employment and their jobs and their stores. In the Dolores Cannon, it's not based on good and bad. It's based on vibration. So I think that's where there's a difference between Law of One and Dolores Cannon's New Earth. Don't you guys think so? Like there's a slight difference on how you get to make the transition?
Well, I think that the good and bad thing is a reflection of your vibration. So if you are of a certain vibration in mind, you will do things that are perceived as good. If you are of a certain vibration, you will do things that are perceived as bad. But we can't really tell because you could have a bad impression of someone, and that person may be a very nice person. Maybe you just met them in a very bad day. So I think that the two things are completely consistent in terms of how there is a separation, a three-way separation, and it's all based in vibration. And whether you're good or bad, this is just a simplistic way to put it.
Right, and I think one way to add to what you're saying, which if you could think about it from our point of view, we can see someone like your friend, right? They're like completely buying the narrative. They're completely in fear and everything. But from their point of view, right, they're believing the truth. They're wearing a mask in service to others so they don't get others sick. So from our point of view, it's like they're doing something out of fear. From their point of view, that's the truth, and they're doing it out of love for other people.
Exactly.
And even their reporting of people, like they shouldn't be out there walking around, and they're getting, they're nosy and getting in other people's business. In their mind, they've justified that as trying to help the community. They shouldn't be out there because they might spread it to someone else.
But
so
that's
it is
what the Nazi
lies.
said. The Nazi public said,
right, but I'm saying intention,
I have to report my neighbor for hiding a Jew.
I follow what you're saying.
It's a good thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And would that person then be rewarded by waking up in this beautiful New Earth environment? You got to say, if doing something for the right reason, but doing something wrong, but for the right reason, does that change your vibration? Does that give you a pass? Do you get pass?
I don't think it's like a pass or you're being tested. I think it's the vibration of what you're resonating with. So if you are in this giving, even though you're believing lies, you're out in the community trying to help people. And even if you're believing lies and you're confused and you're doing it and all based off of lies, you can't really blame them, right?
No, you can't blame them. But it's not about blame. It's about there were actual guards, and I studied it, I'm sure you guys did too, who did things to prisoners in Auschwitz and other concentration camps that they would never do outside of the camp mentality and the uniform. And we're doing it because, they're telling us to. We're following orders. It's the right thing to do. So they justified heinous acts. Would they go? Is it because their heart was still good and they didn't mean it and they did it for the wrong reasons because they were fooled? You see, it gets really tricky and really complicated.
This is hardcore metaphysics.
Yeah.
For real, we're putting ourselves in the place of God, judge, and juror. And
we're not.
like I have no clue. I think it's Right, and I think there's really no way to know. It's almost just like whatever you're tuned at. You're like a radio. You can't tell what you're tuned at, but you're going to pick up a certain radio station, and it's like ultimately we're going to go with what we're, combine. We're going to combine with what we resonate with, if you will.
Yeah.
But here's another theory, the game theory. Shane loves the game theory, and I know you do, Paulo, because I've read your simulation theories through and through several times. And if life is like a game, and to get to the next level, you have to figure out the level that you're on. It will not forgive you and say, oh, I'm just going to put you up on Mario Brothers to the next level because you died 1,001 times and you really tried hard. You have to figure out that level. And when you figure out that level, there's no reason for you to remain on there anymore. You get bumped up automatically to the next level because the level you're on won't serve you. You figured it out.
I think that's a brilliant analogy. And when you're talking about the example of the Nazis, the Nazi guards, that they did horrible things thinking that they were good, if they were really of a higher vibration, they would have their intuition or higher self or something like in them would have told them, look, this is horrible, just get out. As some did. As
but
some
it's
people,
hard to get out because you could be threatening your own life if you try to just like go AWOL and your family's life. So a lot of people felt stuck.
Yeah, but like Paul is saying, if you're of a certain vibration at some point, you will just give your life, just like Jesus did. He was of that vibration. He didn't conform. There's no way he was going to conform to what they were wanting him to do, and they killed him as a result. So it's like, you're right. If they had been of a certain vibration, just like your friend, if she was of a certain vibration, she would feel that something wasn't right with the action. But at what point does she deserve to go with the elite people or come to New Earth with it?
It's a game. It's not deserving. It's not a reward. It's like you get to level up when you figured out the level that you're on. Right. Then you get to go up.
Yeah.
And so long as you're buying into all the lies and all the deception and you're running in fear and anger and, then have you figured out the level yet? No.
But is it figuring it out intellectually or by the heart and the vibration of it all? I mean, there's so many ways because it's intelligent infinity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What say you? What say you, Paula?
Well, it's not really just the... It's as I said, it's hardcore metaphysics, but it's not really just what you do, and because the first thing is we are in third density and we are supposed to be confused. Right. I have given up trying to understand what's going on because the law of one says that, Spiritism says that. So we are supposed to be confused. The law of one says it's like working in third density is like working in complete darkness with a tiny candle. That's how they describe this. We are supposed to be confused. But there is this vibration. So it's how your soul vibrates. It's much, much deeper, and it's deeper than what we can understand. So let's take, for example, a negative example, Hitler. The law of one says that Hitler didn't make it. Hitler didn't go fourth density negative.
Can you guys believe that?
He was the worst. Yeah, exactly.
A long time ago, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it when I read it. But now that I know that the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds funded him and the Vatican, he was just kind of doing what he was being told to do. So yeah, now I can say, there were worse people behind Hitler pulling Hitler's strings, like a puppet.
That's exactly the case. That's so the manipulation on the negative side is, look, I am not going to do all of the killings because if I do it, that's going to incur karma for me. Yeah. But I'm going to give the means to some idiot, to some useful idiot, to do the killings. And if he or she does it, then it's going to be his free will, and it's going to be his karma. So the negative manipulation is trying to do the worst for people without incurring the negative karma that comes with it. So that is the vibration that they are on. So Hitler was a guy that didn't make it. The law of one says that he didn't make it. So he's going to have to go back and repeat third density. So I don't know, like 75,000 years of third density or something like that. And so when we look at people according to what they are doing, we are only seeing the tip of the iceberg. There is something much deeper down, which is, we could call it the vibration, the frequency, or whatever, that we can't see it. So it's whatever judgment we make, it's going to be wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just bring up these questions because I don't know if you get to level up just because you're a good person, but you're living in complete fear because you've drunk the Kool-Aid and you've bought into everything I see as reality. Because then the level might say, you need to come back here and do another level and do another round and do another round until you can see through that nothing here is real. Nothing here matters. Yes, our love does. That's all that matters, is our love for each other, our children, animals. Outside of the love, nothing else here really matters.
So, Paulo, when you look at the way that the Law of One talks about, it says you have to be 95% service to self to graduate on the negative path to fourth density. So, and they said Genghis Khan did it. I think that was one person that he was at least 95% selfish enough that he actually graduated into the fourth density. So what we have is you have to be at least 95% service to self or 51% service to others. So anything between 50% and 95% service to self, these are the repeaters then, right? These
That's
are the people
right.
that fit in this big window of, they weren't quite service to self enough, well, you got to be pretty rotten, as I was saying, but maybe you weren't, maybe you were at 49%, just to throw out some, like you were somebody that helped people, but not very much,
Exactly.
Right.
And this is one of the I would say, so some people say that it's roughly 80% of the population that is in that situation. So it's neither here nor there. And different people would give you different probabilities or proportions, but it's very big. It's the vast majority, and it's funny that you get someone that is on a negative path. They really love no one.
Mm-hmm.
You
really have to be a psychopath, pretty much, don't you?
Exactly. My mentor, Dr. Scott Mendelker, he said that he has contacted some people that they were hardcore negatives, and it feels like you even feel cold next to them, because it's like an energy well. So they suck that out of you. So in the case of Hitler, for example, you can see images of Hitler, caressing or incentivizing the Hitler youth. So you could see in his eyes that he actually had a little bit of respect for those kids that were, defending Berlin in the last moment, and that's why he didn't make it,
Right?
Because he still had a little bit of love, and he actually loved his dog Blondie, and he was a true sentiment. So because of that, he didn't make it. So it's very difficult to be on the negative side, and all of these people, they are following orders and saying, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna do well. I'm gonna be on the negative side." I mean, I'm really sorry for them. They're gonna have a very rude awakening.
Yeah, and even the Law of One talks about the people that have decided to take the negative path. It's so hard to do because there's so much disharmony within the service to self faction that you're a part of that, and we can see it now. As soon as, one person starts getting busted, they're going to turn, you can really see how there could be a chain reaction when, the cabal starts to fall. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just people ratting at everybody because they're built on disharmony, as the Law of One talks about. The service to self path is a path of disharmony.
I think the 1% of the ruling elite who are truly behind the people that we see, like Trump isn't making any decisions. Boris Johnson's not making any decisions, nor is your prime minister or Canada's.
Yes.
The people who are truly making the decisions that actually harm all of humanity, I think they're going. I think they're 95% or more, don't you?
There's some in there for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing was the law of one said that. So as Shane just said, so Genghis Khan was one of the guys in history that did graduate fourth density negative. The other one was Rasputin. If you read Rasputin's bio, you see that he did have healing powers, but he was using that for his own benefit. And the other one was Taras Bulba, which was like a general in the the Middle Ages in like somewhere Georgia or around Russia somewhere that he actually would get his followers to go after him, but he was already using unconsciously hypnosis. And the other very creepy thing that the law of one says is that Goering and Himmler, they are eligible to go fourth density negative. But you would notice that the law of one didn't say they went fourth density negative. So it meant they say they are eligible to go, which probably means that they are right now in hell, in a very lower astral, going through the repercussions of everything that they did. They're going to be there for maybe a few hundred years, if not thousands. And then after that, they might be able to go. So that gives you an idea of how difficult it is and how much suffering it is, or how much suffering you have on the negative path. So again, the people that are deciding to go that way, I'm really sorry for them.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about real quick, Paulo, and I know I just want to get kind of get your idea on it. Say there's like a businessman, he's at like 45% service to others. He's not quite there, And the law of one talks about things will happen, catalysts that will help us, and they even talked about catalysts like they said global changes. I believe when I was kind of reviewing it recently, and they said there could be global changes that would help shift and increase the harvest. So they made it sound like somebody like this businessman, maybe he has a little league team, so he's 45%. He's not totally bad or anything. He's a good guy, but he is more about himself, and then all of a sudden, maybe there's a hurricane or something. He has to get his boat out there and start helping rescue people, right? So he's like kicking up the service to others because of this catalyst, helping, and then as a result, maybe he hits that 51% and it increases harvest. So I know the law of one talks about things like this happening to help increase harvest, and then that they would ramp up towards this period that we're in right now, and that's kind of what we see. Is that kind of how you see things unfolding?
Yeah, exactly. And the interesting thing is that in the example that you're giving, the businessman just gets his boat and saves people in a flood. Mm-hmm. So if he does graduate, it wouldn't be because of the good that he did. I don't think of the good karma. I think it would be because by doing that good, he would actually realize that is where true happiness and love can achieved.
Right. So you would grow so much out of that experience rather than the meter goes up, so to speak, because he did something nice.
Exactly.
I got you.
So it's like, do you remember when you bought a bicycle or a car or something, and this is going to make me so happy, and then you buy it, and then 2 weeks later you're already thinking of something else,
right?
Because you lost the magic. The magic is completely gone. Now, when you go and do something good for someone, that is a type of satisfaction and love feeling that doesn't go away in 2 or 3 weeks. It actually stays with you quite a lot. Yeah. So in the case of actually stays with you forever.
Yeah.
So in the case of your example, the businessman on the boat that went out and did nice things, if he taps into that type of energy and say, look, this is the only thing that actually made me feel happy, that didn't go away in 2 or 3 weeks. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. If he touches that, then that's what the loved one talks about in terms of catalyst.
Yeah.
In terms of an event that make
that I'm not a big fan of Law of One, even though I've read all the books. And the reason I'm not a big fan of it is because Don Elkins committed suicide. The author himself had such difficulty living with the philosophy that he was delivering. He found it hard to live. And of course, poor Carla Ruckart wound up disabled and bedbound immediately after she channeled. So I felt like health-wise, she wasn't getting any good out of it. But the reason I really don't like it is going to David Wilcock's conferences on the Ascension portal. And he lived with the Law of One people. He helped them build the compound. And if you guys look him up now and put David Wilcock channels Ra, he channeled Ra after Carla stopped. So he became a Ra channeler. And the reason I'm not a huge fan, even though I find it really interesting and I find pearls and gems and everything, whether I agree with it 100% or not, the reason I don't really resonate with it is that he literally tells people in the Ascension portal talks, which are really interesting and fascinating, full of amazing science, that don't worry, guys. As long as you're 51% good, you're going to New Earth, heaven, Shambhala. You're leaving this earth of duality and pain and suffering and joy and love, because it's both. And you can be mean, selfish, negative, heartless, greedy 49% of the time, and you're still going to go. And I'm like, what? Like, if that's the New Earth that I'm going to, it's not a very good version of New Earth if everybody there is running around being 49% selfish, greedy, harmful to other people, lying, cheating, and hurting. So
but I don't think it's I mean, it could be service to self, to take care of yourself and to eat and have your home and take care of your kids. All of this is service to self things. So it's not necessarily you're doing selfish things, but you've got so much of yourself that because you've got to have some service to self, or you're not going to be there to.
Eating and feeding your family is service to self. Is service to. It's considered service to others. Eating, working to feed your family, that's considered service to others because you have to do those things.
What if you are single?
People. Service to self is considered, does this benefit only me? Am I the one that gets it so the rest in the company don't get it? Do I have more than my neighbors? It's not like taking care of your family.
Well, how does the Law of One explain that?
Well, I just going back a little bit. I remember I saw this I think it was a speech or a conference by David Wilcock, and he was saying, I think that was he did drop the ball.
Yeah, I've heard him say something like that, and I was like, whoa, that ain't what it's all about. But
I really think that he dropped the ball there. I mean, he was trying to simplify to make it
right.
easier, and I think that he went overboard.
So you don't
Wouldn't be the first time, though. Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay. He's a lovely guy, and he's a genius. And now Sherry's not going to talk to me for weeks and weeks and weeks. I hope she doesn't see this because she loves David Wilcock. So do I.
Not too much anymore. But
it didn't resonate with me. It's like people not believe everything that they say, right? Because he has so much more to offer in other areas of wisdom teachings and synchronicity key and all that stuff. It's just when it comes to Law of One, he's like, skippity doo dah, you can be pretty bad and still go.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is it's very difficult to make this calculation. So 51, what is 51%?
Right.
I mean, I think that this is so difficult that we shouldn't really be bogged down by it. Right. Because does it mean that 51% of your decisions on a daily basis have to be, in respect to others, or is it I don't know.
Is it cumulative, like over your life? So if like you've been really rotten and you got to be extra service to others towards the end of your life to make up for all the selfishness of your younger years, and you got to like really go. You're like, man, and you sort of got these scales. You know, I don't think it's like that though. Like you were saying, the meter thing earlier. It's sort of like how much you grow and learn from learning what service to others feels like, and wanting more of that, and realizing how good that feels.
Yeah.
How much more satisfying that is than, you know, material things. Like you were saying, comparing something that you get tired of after 2 weeks, but yeah, you can give somebody $20 in an alley, and you can feel joy from that for the rest of your life because they, you know, shed tears and you know, you helped them in a time of need or something, you know.
That's right. That's right.
But if you give the guy $20 just so you can buy your way into New Earth, it doesn't work because the motivation is wrong.
Yeah.
That's totally right. Yeah.
It's very complicated, and you know, let's just.
Plus, the Vatican already has a corner on that market. So
exactly.
I love talking deep metaphysics with you two, because I know there's no bounds that we cannot go into. There's no limit to how far we can go, because we don't know. We don't really know, but we're willing to go there and look at it at least.
Well, just to cap it all off, I want to say that really the beauty of the universe and all of this is that everyone's going to go precisely where they need to go. So it's not like a matter of getting left behind. It's all this fear programming. You wouldn't want to go where you don't resonate. You want to go where you're going to go, and you know, and you want to develop how you're supposed to develop. And everybody ends up where they're supposed to be, and there's really no fear involved with any of this. It's not like a case of missing the bus.
Except for the law of one. Paulo, tell them about what happens to the people who don't go to fourth density negative or fourth density positive. According to the law of one, they get annihilated into atoms to start a new cycle where they get to do it all over again to eventually go to fourth density negative or fourth density positive. I like Shane's theory, and I like what you were getting when you were doing BQHs with Sherry. And that's more of the Dolores canon, that nobody gets left behind. Everybody winds up where they're supposed to be. But Paulo, isn't it true that in Law of One, they say that there is an annihilation of the people in the middle and they get to start over as atoms?
It's not an annihilation. It's a repeat. It's a repeat. So
that's what I mean. You get to start over. You get to do the whole thing over again. Not as in a life. You get to start from square one and go through thousands and thousands of years of development of reincarnations to make that choice again between fourth density negative and fourth density positive, right?
Exactly. But that's also what other bodies of knowledge talk about. So in Spiritism, say for example, there is quite a lot of people that came from other stars to the Earth because they repeated their third density cycle there, and now the same thing is going to happen on Earth, but the other way around. So Earth now is going to be ascending, and people that can't stay here, they will have to go to another star. So it's not really annihilation at the soul level. It's just like you're going to have to move to a planet that is at a more primitive state of development, and you're going to have to restart.
That's the scary bit. It's starting over and going, what? I'm in the sixth grade. I want to go to seventh grade. And they're like, not you. You're going back to first grade on a different planet.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
But you know what? The limitations of time make us feel like that's such an awful thing. But when there's no limitation whatsoever, you can start from the beginning as many times as you want. You're never going to run out of time.
True.
Right?
That's true.
We're looking at it within
soul, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's why we decided to do this to begin with. We knew it would take us billions of years to figure out what we've done to ourselves. That's what I feel like. But it didn't matter. We knew it was all an illusion. The limits of time, the limits of money, all of the limitations. It's all fake.
The limitations. It's all fake. It's all third density, 3D, smoke and mirrors.
Because love is all there really is, and
That's
it's
all
limitless.
There really is.
And it's limitless. So.
Yeah, it never runs out. You never run out. There's never an end to how much love you can feel or give to others. Yeah, I think we all pretty much agree on the basics, but boy, when you get down to the specifics, it gets really interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of that can be sort of, you can make it jive together just by simply taking a different perspective of it. You know what I mean? just like the perspective of the person, maybe it looks one way, but then you take a step out of the person and it looks a completely different way, but it's sort of the same thing. So I don't even know that they really contradict each other. I think a lot of times it's just a matter of how we're looking at it and the perspective, you know?
Yeah, which maybe, the Theosophists. Have you guys read Rudolf Steiner, Madame Blavatsky, Alice Bailey? Because that's very similar to Law of One, but more specific to a Tibetan culture. And they say, I can't remember what cycle of Earth we're in. Like Earth gets like 5 or 7 cycles. And you can come and do as many of those cycles as you like. And at some point, you're probably not going to want to do that anymore. And you're going to want to move into another, they call them octaves, kind of like the Law of One. They do those as well. You move up an octave and start the cycles there, right? And all places, whether you're in an Earth cycle or a non-Earth cycle, like Shane said, like you said, you're getting what you need to get, you're learning what you need to learn, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
That's absolutely right. So I agree entirely, and which is why we shouldn't really get bogged down on this or that type of channeled material because it took me a long time to come to grips with this, but we are supposed to be confused on this.
I don't like that. I don't want to be confused.
Yeah, because Eileen, when you drop your physical body, your mind is going to expand by so much that you then will be able to perceive reality as it is, or pretty much very, very close to it. The reason why we have this physical body here is to experience this confusion, not knowing what's going to happen, and hopefully, despite this confusion, try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So is it all a test? Is it all a test or all a school? Like Shane says, we agreed to come here and wipe our memories, and then when we come off of here, we get our memories back, right?
Well, I don't know. Do we? Is the amnesia just? Isn't the Law of One talks about the distortions, right? And one of the distortions is the amnesia that we face as we come here. But that is just while we're here incarnate, right?
Right. Not at the soul level in between.
That's right.
Incarnations.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you are outside, when you are at a higher level, you can actually see the consequences of what you do. So if you're about to punch someone, I mean, metaphorically speaking, you're about to punch someone, but you can feel the karma coming back to you even before you do it, just by thinking about it. You can do that, and we are here exactly to understand, to have this separation from cause and effect, and to be in confusion, not to know what the karma of something will be, exactly because we need to understand that we need to refrain from punching someone, not because we want to avoid karma, but because we love the person and we accept the person's right to go about their day. So this is what the Law of One says. It's working out in a dark room with a tiny candle. So it's making the good decisions, or as good decisions as you possibly can, with a minimum level of knowledge and perception.
So it is like a test. It's like a school. We're in school. Even when we're not in school, we're in school because we're on Earth.
Well, the thing is, if you think about it, if you think about it in terms of how far you've come and how you've ended up here, throughout all the things you thought you knew, right? All the planning that you did, and you still ended up where you are right now. And I think if you can kind of come to terms with realizing that, wow, I'm really supposed to be here right now, and I could not have planned myself to be here right now. I could see if you're not to that point, but if you get to that point, then you're kind of okay with not knowing, because you're like, I didn't know all this time, or I thought I knew, and clearly I didn't, and I made it this far. So clearly there is some kind of mechanics to the game that keep you at least sort of on track. It's sort of like, you're on this boat on this river and you can sway a little bit here and there, but ultimately the river is going to go where you need to go. You've just got a little bit of sway to give it that realistic effect and the free will aspect of it. Because you do have free will to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were talking like Paulo in his section of the Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, which Paulo wrote with us along with Vanessa VA. There's the book.
Awesome.
You were talking about, and it really made sense to me, how even in the simulation, you have free will, but within the parameters of the program. So if you were playing a game, you might have like 5 weapons or 10 weapons that you could choose from in the game. I'm not saying that that's life is weapons, but you don't have complete free will, that there's an infinite number that you can choose from because the program has set parameters, but you have free will within the programmed parameters of the reality bubble in which you find yourself. Does that sum it up pretty good, Paulo, what you were writing about?
That's exactly right. And so your choices are always restricted, and they are restricted by the program. Now the program, in contrast to what a lot of people say or think, that the programmer is some kind of evil guy keeping us. I don't think that's the case. I think that the programmers are ourselves.
Yep.
So we
I think so.
At higher self level, outside time and space, we are creating this game.
That makes sense.
I totally agree. And the more I can pull myself out of it and pull myself back from everything and take this objective look as a game designer and the game mechanics of it all, it looks more and more like something I would design. Even the ultimate thing, we talk about, we want things to change and stuff, but there's some core things we're really working towards, like, saving abused children and saving starved people and homeless people. I mean, there's some like core things that we're really trying to work towards that shouldn't be on this earth, right? So, and really everything we do is sort of working towards that. And it's like the ultimate prize, I mean, you got little on Mario Brothers, it's the princess, right? But with us, it's the innocent, it's the children, it's the hungry, it's the poor or whatever. And it's like that's the ultimate game,
That's the ultimate goal in being here, is trying to get to that level where there is no hunger and no abuse.
Exactly.
Yes.
And when people say I'm afraid of the Mandela effect because of simulation theory, because some evil guy is programming everything, it could be us, it could be God, as all that is and was and ever will be. I mean, it doesn't have to be a bad person programming things just because bad things happen here. It could be a good programmer.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is one of the reasons why my videos don't have very good views, don't have a lot of views, because I try to put a positive.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
You're also shadow banned. Only we can see your videos because they don't pop up in people's suggested feeds. So
yeah, it's funny. I Googled my own name and I found myself as a guest on other channels, but my own channel didn't come up. I'm like,
I know.
Because
I've done that with your channel. It's not popping up, and neither am I. My songs pop up if I go on a friend's phone and go on YouTube and put my name in. Nothing from me pops up, but maybe one of my songs, which have nothing to do with my channel.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, but look, this is all part of the. One day we're gonna be outside on another planet, reminiscing about this, probably having an intergalactic beer, and we're gonna say, I'm very proud because I was shadow banned. I was blocked by the Draco, and this is gonna be a badge of honor.
And I kept speaking. I never stopped speaking my truth, even when I thought, if I speak the truth, I'm going to be censored and they're going to remove my channel. Oh, who cares? You got to tell the truth.
That's right. That's right.
Even the shadow banning, though, I've been like, well, it's a blessing. It's like no more trolls and stuff. Only the new subscribers or people that like word of mouth heard about it. It's like,
because you got shadow banned at 15,000 subscribers. Yeah. We got shadow banned at very, very few subscribers. You got a good number in there.
Isn't that crazy? It's been over a year. I've been in the 15s, and like before that, I was going up so much. But it's like I'm almost at 16,000. I think I need like 20 more people. It's like,
Okay, we'll get 20 more people out there. Anybody listening, subscribe. We want to push Shane over the 16,000 mark because he's been lurking at 16,000 now for a year.
Yep, just hovering around there. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You know,
It doesn't matter.
I think our group's the best. I don't know. It's like
We got the best group.
the most awake crowd there is. You know, I'm really proud to be a part of such a great group of people. So.
Me too. And I'm really appreciating it now, as due to COVID, I'm losing some more of my 3D friends and family. So I'm really appreciating you guys now because it's like, hey, at least I got some friends, you know?
I know. It sounds like you're having a hard time with some of the people that, you know, just getting kind of sucked into all of the fear and stuff. And
Yeah, because like what I used to do was I would pretend to like agree with them just to not trigger them. And now I'm so standing in my energy. I can't pretend anymore. I can't just blink my eyes and go, I go, well, actually, no, this is what I found. And boy, that just, you know, they're just like, what? They're like, you've changed. I'm like, no, I've always been this way.
Well, this is what I was saying. Like, if you have a good idea of what's sort of out there, you can pick the best thing to sort of give them the next stepping stone from where they are, you know. So you might not like agree with Edge of Wonder's channel. You're like, they're kind of a little too fear-based. But it might be one step away from where your friend is, right?
Yes.
So it's a little bit, so it's like learning to play the game well. And I think when you think of it as a game and you think of it as the mechanics of it, and you, instead of trying to make a person believe like you believe, you just kind of see, you know, a way to help them with the momentum of their growth and give them the next best thing for wherever they're at, because you remember where you were at when you sort of believe like that, and you just give them that next little nugget instead of trying to have them come over to here where we're probably sound crazy.
Totally
right?
agree with that, because we could just here in our community we can say what we feel. We don't always agree with each other, but we still respect the opinion of the other person, your ability to present it. We're like, yeah, that's interesting. It doesn't resonate with me, but I find it really interesting. It's kind of a new level of communication. And what I'm finding with some of my not close friends, I must say, is that when it comes to the coronavirus, there is no level of, okay, let's revisit it. Let's think about this further. It's almost like the politics of Democrat and Republican. You're either on board or you're not. And if you don't say you're on board, they're triggered, emotionally triggered. There's no room in the middle.
Yeah. So much is getting like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
And it's Australia, it's Brazil, it's everywhere in the world. So it's the division.
Isn't that the split or the divergence that Tony from Merkaba Carpet Channel talks about? This whole divergence. We're seeing the split happen right before us, are we not?
He does a lot of videos on that.
Yes.
On the division. You should check him out, Paulo, if you haven't seen Merkaba Carpet.
Okay, I will.
You'd like it.
He's another small shadow band channel.
He's an artist, so he always does artwork and then talks about it. It's very deep metaphysics, though, that he covers.
Yeah.
And Livette channel. I've seen April. If you're here tonight, I've seen you over commenting on the Livette channel. Livette channel is extremely deep metaphysics because it's about alchemy. It's about the alchemy of words and the alchemy of astrology and astronomy. You can't get deeper than that.
Wow. Yeah. Now the diversion is real and it's intensifying, but we need to stand our ground, and we like both sides are being manipulated by the forces that be, and I'm not going to go into these useless fight, and this is just a diversion maneuver, and it has been very carefully planned.
Yeah,
and it's a good one because it's working. Yeah. It's working. It really is. If you had to come up with something to divide the people, what better than this? You know.
That's right. And look, it's something. This is the time that we need to go back and stand our ground and say this is not going to work for me. And just yesterday, my aunt left a family group on WhatsApp because of the politics. So this was supposed to be a group set up for people to keep in touch, people from the extended family to keep in touch. And she said, I can't stand this anymore. I'm getting out of here. And she's a lovely.
My Facebook was a group for family, and years ago, I got knocked off. Not my Facebook, but like family Facebooks, because I was sharing news reports on vaccines, and that was enough to trigger some of my family, my extended family, not my personal, like sister, brother, all that stuff. That was enough for them to say, no more. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you. I want nothing to do with you anymore. And it was really, it wasn't extreme. Years ago, it wasn't extreme. And it's kind of more extreme now because of the COVID vaccine being rushed through and the biometric ink and all of that. So it's more of a hot topic now than it was. So that was a time when you could easily see a news feed pop up, somebody they posted an article from a good source on some of the dangers of vaccines. You could just flip right past it and go, no, I'm not going to read that. But not get triggered and say, I'm willing to give up a family member because they posted that. That's an extreme reaction.
It is. It's an extreme reaction, and it shows the programming. It shows the conditioning that people are being put through. And if you and this is because we all discuss about RFID chips and all of that stuff. But if you are if you study spiritism and you practice, you will realize that there are also astral implants. It doesn't need to be physical. It doesn't need to be like a tangible thing. It could be astral. You could be astrally chipped. And what happens is that these implants, these astral implants, they do influence the way that you behave. So you could have everything okay in your physical body and still be under control. That is really strange.
So that would explain some of the, Democrats and Republicans reacting to each other like, I don't know, like they want to get the fires out and start burning each other, on the stake.
I don't know. I think when it comes to politics, you don't need many attachments on top of that. People just easily get triggered. But yeah, I see what you're saying. So how do you see these astral? Because I know you can have it. I've had people have them removed in like hypnosis sessions and healing and Reiki and different things like that, or even going into a meditative state and removing it. But how does it actually get put on there? How do they get these implants on the astral ones, not the physical ones? Have you heard, Paulo?
Yeah. It varies. So sometimes you could have a moment of anger. You could be driving, a moment of anger. So the guy cuts you off, and you this and that and the other thing. That could lower your vibration enough for these entities to have access to you. So that's the moment that they could actually come and put an implant on you. And I was with a medium and shaman the other day, and so we were praying, and she was incorporated into like a Native American, but from South America, Indian, the spirit of an Indian. And then the spirit just came to me and said, "Can you turn around, please?" And I did turn around, and then he did something in the back of my neck. I later asked him what was it, and he said, "Look, this was it wasn't a chip, but it was a kind of like a micro attachment. It was an entity attachment, and we are subject to this at all times. And if you go back to the good old Bible, what did Jesus say? watch and pray.
Or like Kay says, if you keep your energy levels high enough from everyday masters, they can't touch you. When your energy level is so high and your heart energy is so full, it creates like a protective bubble around you that you just can't be touched because your energy and your love is so high.
Isn't it sort of like when we have, I mean, we're talking about this whole corona thing. I mean, this isn't really a lot different than a virus or bacteria in the physical world. This is like virus and bacteria of the astral world, right? And then it's like you lower your astral immune system when you get triggered and you're living in fear or anger all the time. Then it's like, and that even harms, it's been shown that like unforgiveness can lead to cancer and physical things. So, I mean, it's all connected here. But
fear lowers the immune system. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really all, so it's not just the physical that we know about. It's also...
the astral.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, we got 2 Paulos. Well, I would like to add
we need to mute the other source.
If you read the Bon religion, which predates Buddhism and kind of became Buddhism and Hinduism. Am I not supposed to talk because I'm...
So you got to mute the other one.
Other one. This is fun. I'm having fun with it.
Me too. There we go. Okay,
so
yeah.
If you go to the ancient
now you can unmute it. Okay,
Bon religion, which became Buddhism and Hinduism at about the same time, even though they're different, they share some similarities. And the Theosophists picked up on this as well. They hold that everything in the astral plane around Earth belongs to Earth, and it is filled with emotions from humans, from past and present. So that's where all the fear goes. That's where all the hate goes. That's where all the resentment and jealousy and all of those negative human emotions actually go into the astral. And instead of going out forever into the universe, they get trapped there in the astral, which is kind of a good thing for other planets and other species. And, they don't have to deal with the human emotion affecting them as much, but that's what can attach to people is either their own negativity or other people's negativity can attach to them
too, right?
In thought forms. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still muted, Paula.
Yes. So my phone died. I apologize for that.
That's okay. Your phone died, but it went straight to your PC then. That was great.
Yes. I had to do a quick change.
Yeah,
that was a very quick change.
Yeah. Okay. So, have we talked about? Do we have a subject for tonight's meditation?
First, I'm going to ask Paulo. Do you want to do a live meditation for people? You don't have to, but do you want to?
Well, I'm not very good with the guided meditations, because what I usually do is just go into my little space and let anything happen. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And
I think with the connection, go ahead.
So I think that if you guys are more experienced in guided meditation, if you could take the lead, I think it would be a better.
Well, I don't mind. I do the live ones, but Shane has got an awesome meditation voice, and that abundance meditation, I still have it in my playlist. So I think I'm ready for another one, Shane, for you to produce another meditation like on love. You could just close your eyes and turn on a mic and just do it. You wouldn't need to edit that one.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, just on love. I don't know. I just want another Shane produced meditation because I love it. I put it in I go to sleep to other people's guided meditations. I really like
awesome.
that. Yeah. What topic do you guys want then? Paulo, Shane?
Let's let Paulo choose. What do you feel like we can join our power of intentions as a group, and what do you kind of feel intuitively, Paulo?
Yeah, I look, there is a visualization that could actually help quite a lot what we're doing, and it's or what we are going through right now, it's with the virus and everything, and it's visualizing the whole Earth being caressed by a pink salmon type of energy.
Like I know all about the salmon color. Yeah, there's like if you're having an argument with somebody at work or in your family, you close your eyes, you surround them in a salmon or pink bubble, then you put yourself in a salmon or pink bubble and you just send love. And then suddenly the next day, they're just nice to you for no particular reason. They don't even know why they're nice to you.
Yeah, that's right. It is a very powerful frequency. And if we could visualize the Earth being bathed in this frequency, in this energy, for not only COVID-19 but also everything else that is happening, it would be
that'll help with the rioting and everything.
That'll help with the riots. Yep, that'll help.
There's no expiration date on that either.
No, that'll help with fear.
And
that'll
anger
calm
towards
the fear. And anger towards what, Eileen?
No.
What were you going to say? You're laughing.
I was going to say Bill, but, I don't know. It just seemed funny.
Anger towards Bill. Who's Bill?
The Windows guy.
Yes. No. Oh, God. That's going to take a lot of salmon on my part. To forgive Bill. I'm not going to mention him. We'll let everybody forgive him in their own time. Paulo, do you think the bill is going to make it to fourth density negative?
No idea.
Me neither.
I don't know. He's shoveled out quite a bit of GMO food to third world countries, so I don't know.
And 500,000 paralyzed and dead Indian children. That's a lot. That beats Hitler and Stalin in my books, or even Vlad the Impaler.
But he's playing his role, He's the villain.
It makes you feel angry, but then you have to,
I don't know why we're laughing, but laughing just relieves the pressure of dealing with the Antichrist. Just kidding. Joke.
Oh my gosh, poor Bill. I mean, we're just like laying it on you, buddy. I hope you're not tuned in tonight. I doubt you. It's probably too high vibe. You probably melt if you tuned in.
Where's a pie when you need one, right?
Right. All right, so I'm glad we got this boost in high vibe energy as we go into the meditation.
We are vibing high.
The pink. Okay, so what we typically do, Paulo, is we'll just kill our cameras and our mics to help the stream since we're meditating anyway.
Okie dokie. I will go ahead and let my camera go.
Now go ahead and mute my mic.
There we go. Okay, so everybody get really, really comfortable. Whether you're sitting or standing or laying down on something, don't do this if you're driving or walking and you need to pay attention. Just go ahead and sit into whatever is supporting you. Just really kind of let yourself go and let gravity and weight take over and just lean into it. Just relax. And then take a nice, deep, relaxing breath in. Just kind of fill your lungs up. Let it out completely, and let all tension anywhere in your body go out with the out breath. And when you're ready, take a nice, deep, relaxing breath in, kind of fill up the lower portion of your lungs, let your tummy expand. And then just exhale completely, letting go of any stress anywhere in your day. And when you're ready, take that third relaxing deep breath in, completing a trinity. And now we're just going to breathe in through our heart chakra, and we're going to exhale through our heart chakra, just like Heart Maths Institute teaches. Breathe in through the heart and exhale through the heart at a pace that is really comfortable for you. And as you breathe in through the heart, take in a beautiful pink or salmon color, crystalline pink, beautiful salmon coming in through the heart center And go ahead and exhale that color back out through the heart. And as you continue to breathe in extremely healing and peaceful and gentle pink or salmon, go ahead and send a grounding cord down from your root chakra all the way down through your building, through all the different layers of the earth. Send that grounding cord down to the center. And when it reaches the heart of the earth, just let it spread out quickly in all directions. So now we're going to continue breathing in that beautiful salmon and pink color. And we're going to let it fill our bodies on the in-breath. It's going to circulate from the top of our head into our neck and shoulders, down our torso into our legs, down our calves into our ankles, down our arms into our hands. We're even going to let that beautiful, peaceful color go into our toes and into our fingers. And on the exhale, let that beautiful, peaceful, loving, gentle, harmonious color pink or salmon surround you like a bubble or a cocoon. And that is now protecting you and supporting you. As we virtually hold hands and connect together with an intention to surround the earth with this beautiful, peaceful, loving, gentle, heart-healing color of pink or salmon. Let's start by first filling our house with that color or our home. And when we're ready, let's now fill our community with this beautiful, peaceful color. And then our province or county, and then our state, and then our country. And when we feel that our entire country is now full of the peace and the love and the healing and the allowing that the color pink brings with it, allowing others to feel their feelings without being triggered, allowing others to think their thoughts without judging, allowing others to be who they are without condemning, just total peace, acceptance, harmony, and allowing. And when you're ready, go ahead and visualize the entire earth, whatever shape you like it to be. Visualize the planet or the flat earth plane or the eyeball. Vision the earth getting smaller and smaller. As if you're moving away from it, it's getting smaller and smaller until it's the size of about a basketball compared to you. And now reach out and take the earth and put it in your arms and hold the earth and love the earth as you would a baby, a new soul who's completely innocent and new to everything. See the earth that way. See the earth as a baby, as something that's new and growing and changing and doing the best it can. And just surround the earth in your arms in a blanket of pink or salmon color. And before we go silent for 3 minutes and hold this image, we're just going to surround ourselves while we're holding and loving the earth in the light of pink or salmon for 3 minutes. And now, just as you're getting ready to open your eyes and stretch, just imagine the earth growing and you coming back onto the earth, the exact size that you should be, but still feel and sense that love of that color always surrounding earth and always surrounding you and your loved ones. Go ahead now and open your eyes and stretch your neck, your shoulders, and come back.
All right. Wow. That was so powerful when I was holding the earth and I felt my heart energy just going right into the earth. That was a powerful moment for me to sit there and just love the earth like a baby. Like that was the perfect thing because there's just no love like you have for a little baby. You know, it's almost like
I know.
they just left God and came to you when you're holding a little newborn, you know, and it was that same gentle, innocent love. You're still muted, Paulo.
Yeah, that innocence, that love for someone and something innocent.
Yeah.
You know, and
Thank you
earth
so
is
much.
that.
I mean, there was a time that I started crying right there.
Yeah.
It was
That's
there's something really
good.
Yeah.
powerful that
Lynn McTaggart
happened.
says if you get moved emotionally, that's when you get healed. And remember the power of 8,
Yep.
Shane?
Oh
Where,
yeah.
yeah,
That's where when you're feeling it emotionally, and then your intentions are going through. You know, so you're thinking about it, you're feeling it, you're experiencing. You're in the vortex, as Abraham or Esther Hicks talks about. When you're in that creative potential, you know, and it's like if you can get in that spot and you can really feel it emotionally, it's really powerful. You know,
yeah,
and
she
then you
says
got
that,
a group of us like this. That's really
yeah.
powerful. More
Yeah,
than
she
we can
says it
imagine.
like it heals the earth, but it also heals you. It heals the sender and the receiver at the same time.
That's right, the leaky bucket effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're actually conduits for that intelligent infinity, that energy flowing through us, and we reap the benefits of becoming a conduit for it.
I remember how we felt at ESETI when we did the meditation, about 50 of us in a circle, literally side by side in a circle. Everybody was crying. It was the proximity and the feeling. And for us to achieve that with all this distance between America and Australia, you know,
Yeah.
there is no distance.
No, we have people in Europe, just all over the world. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. So thank you so much, guys. It's such a blessing to be with you.
Thank you,
yeah, thank you so
Paula.
much, Paulo, for taking the time to come on. And I have to ask you because it's like 10 p.m. for you, Eileen, Friday night or
Yep.
Saturday night.
Yep.
It's 9. What time is it for you? You're Sunday afternoon or something, Paulo? Oh, you're muted. Sorry. Let me guess. 4 o'clock p.m. Sunday evening. Is that
Oh,
right?
sorry, Sunday midday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so noon. Is it noon?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Awesome.
I can never remember. I can't keep that time change in my mind.
Well, I did want to mention really quick before we go. Let me put it on. That way Paulo can see this too. I'm going to share the screen for a second before we go because I want to tell everybody about. Wait, is this even going to load in for me here? Huh. Let me try to refresh it. Oh, here we go. Oh,
There it is.
Okay, let me go full screen. So I did want to let you guys know about the 2020. Wait, what did it say? East. Okay, I guess it's still considered the East Coast Mandela Effect Conference. Of course, we've completely gone online, so it's live streaming. It's free. There's no reason not to join, you guys. It's June 20th through 26th. Here, just less than you can see 20 days. What is that? Oh, we're at the 3-week mark exactly from
Wow.
today. Yeah, it's gonna 3 weeks from today in the afternoon. It's gonna start. Wow. So yeah, check out this website, imec.world. That's IMEC.world. And of course, you can also check out our YouTube channel, which is the International Mandela Effect Conference YouTube channel. It is linked below in the description. So come on over here and register
Great.
for the event. It's free. You're going to be able to watch it on YouTube or on this website right here. So I'm so excited. Of course, Eileen and I are both presenting there, Revelations of the Mandela Effect.
Present together. Well, not together, separately together.
Yeah.
But we're on the same panel. We're on the same day.
Yep. That's going to be awesome. So, and that's cool. So we're actually going to have our presentations shown that day, and it's going to be premiered, and then we're going to actually have a live panel. So some people are going to be in the Zoom, some people will just be in the chat on the YouTube if they don't want to get into the Zoom. But if you actually want to get into the Zoom, call with us and actually ask questions during the panel discussions. Make sure you get over to the website and register so that you will get the password to get into the Zoom. So.
Yeah. And then you get to ask questions and interact with the speakers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But we will have somebody watching the chat as different people are there, and they'll be able to ask the panelists as well. So.
Oh, good. So people in the YouTube chat can also ask questions, because we've noticed it's really hard to read the chat and talk at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like
it really
patting your
is.
head and rubbing your tummy.
Right. Well, we had decided that, like, either Jerry will kind of, just like he was the MC at the last event, so he'll watch the chat and then have questions and things like that. So it'll be more helpful that the speakers can sort of concentrate on answering while he's getting the next question, or whoever, it might be me or anybody.
There's 15 speakers this time, so I'm sorry if I'm going to leave anybody out, but I'm going to try to get through it. Regina Meredith is our keynote speaker. And I love Regina. She's got a great YouTube channel, but she's mostly known as the founding member of Gaia TV. It was called the Consciousness Network, wasn't it? Before it became Gaia TV. And she had some great shows where she interviews people.
Yeah, it says Conscious Media Network, and then host of Open Minds on Gaia TV, and the founder of her own free streaming video network at reginameredith.com.
Now, I've known her as a consciousness expert and researcher. I didn't know that she did sports for NBC TV, that's how she started her career. I just learned that today. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't know that she was one of the people that helped start Gaia TV or Gaiam. I don't know. Which one is it now?
It was called both. It used to be called Gaiam TV, and now I think it's called Gaia TV. There we go. Regina Meredith. She does amazing interviews. She's kind of like the female George Norrie.
That's really awesome.
Oh, and Christopher Anatra. You want to talk about Chris?
The quantum businessman. He's like the founder and CEO of the computer software company. Of course, he came out in June. Actually, it'll be about a year from the time he came out with that video, which, as a CEO, took a lot of guts to come out. And so that's interesting that it's going to be a year to the month of him coming out with that CEO video that he's going to be speaking at this conference. So that's awesome.
Wow, I feel like he did that years ago.
Yeah, it was just in June.
Just a year ago. And he's come up with some really fascinating videos on World War II, going out there and delving into the history and how it's being Mandela'd, how it's changing.
Yeah, and of course he's on the IMEC board.
And who do we have next?
Sean Bunn. A lot of people met him. He was at the last conference, and he's going to be presenting.
Does he have a channel or?
Yeah, and in fact, if people come over here to that imec.world and click on speakers, I believe all of these are the links for everyone. So he's got Facebook, YouTube, he has Instagram and a website and email. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and there I am. And I have one link. What does it say? YouTube?
YouTube, yeah.
I should get our book in there too as a link. I think that's at the bottom. Do you think the book is linked at the bottom?
Let's see. Yep.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, and there's for our show, I guess.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. I mean, I saw this, but not to this level. I saw it when it was in its preliminary stages.
Right.
And Nicole DiMario.
Yeah. Now, I hope to have Nicole on before.
Oh, good.
So we'll get to know her. Because I don't know much about her at all. So.
Well, we're going to learn about her then before we get to the conference. I know a little bit about Dale Dufay. He's written a couple of books called Terrors of the Milky Way. Is that right? Does that sound about right? He's got a YouTube channel.
Yep. Terrors of the Milky Way. Okay. Very good.
Because I can't see the screen. Believe it or not, I cannot read what's up on the screen. I don't have my glasses on.
Well, you did good on remembering that one. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not
Terras,
cheating.
like Terra as in like terra firma or Terra,
Oh, you see, I thought it was terrors of the Milky Way. See? I didn't know that it
Yeah.
was like the movie Terra and Gone with the Wind.
Yeah,
Because Terra is a
Terra.
word for Earth,
Earth,
right?
right? Yeah, like terraforming is forming the Earth, right? Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I want to say. Okay. And then, of course, Kimberly Lynn Hansen, she's been on a couple of times.
She's amazing. When
Yeah.
you get to speak to her, the artist personality exudes in every atom and cell of her body. Isn't she like an artist through and through? She thinks like an artist, speaks like an artist. There's just so much creativity.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah. There's so much magic surrounding her and the things that happen around her. And like anybody who doesn't believe in stuff like that, just hang out one afternoon with Kimberly Lynn Hansen and you will see how she's able to just, I don't know, she fearlessly sort of controls her reality or gets into the flow of things. It's really amazing to watch it. Me and Susa have talked about it.
there really is the way she's I can't really describe it because it's like she's the new human. Like we're going to be that way eventually. Like there's something
Right.
very psychic about her.
Very much so. Yeah. And of course, Dark Wolf's Den,
Our
Jerry
buddy
Hicks.
Jerry,
Yeah.
he'll be talking, and he's the host from last year, and he's got our sponsor one of our sponsors, Rippin' Rabbit Hole. He now has a show on Rippin' Rabbit Hole,
Yeah.
and it's Dark Wolf's Dens on Wednesday, and he does paranormal. He just covers everything paranormal. It's great.
That's right. Yeah. And he's been doing paranormal research for, more than 25 years. So.
Yeah.
And of course, Cynthia Sue Larson. We've had her on a couple of times. We love Cynthia.
Yeah, I love Cynthia and all of her, the quantum physicist who can explain it to people so it actually makes sense. It's like if you listen to Cynthia, you understand the quantum world.
Yeah. She's been at it for a while.
And her books, Reality Shifters and Quantum Jumps and Quantum Money.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got tons of great books, and you can see her links up here, of course. I'm sure everybody that
Yeah, she's been Mandela affected for a very, very long time.
yeah, she knows her stuff, that's for sure.
And then what about, can you say that name correctly? Akranos? Mago? Mago?
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
I don't know.
Data analysis for 30 years.
Yeah.
He stumbled upon quantum physics and the double slit experiment, which shook his world. Now, what's interesting, let me see if it shows the, because he was at the, there it is. Okay, so if you want to try something with controlling stuff with your intentions, like we actually do on the show, you know how they have random number generators and you see if you can influence it. You know, it's basically an electronic coin toss, and you try to see if you can sway it. Well, if you go and you get this app right here, ThetaStream.app, you can practice. It's an actual app to start practicing with affecting things quantumly.
Paulo, you'd love that. You were doing it with elevators at work. Do you remember? Now you can go on to this app and you can work with random generators.
Yeah, you'll love this app.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Fascinating.
I'm gonna go try
it.
So it's ThetaStream.app. ThetaStream.app.
We're going to do something at the conference too, where we're going to experiment with that process.
Yeah, there's our buddy Evan Maitreya. You guys know him best as Moneybags 73.
Yep, and some know him as Moneybags 76, but most of them know them as Moneybags 73.
That's right.
He's doing
That's hilarious.
Mondays or something monthly. He does one day a month on Rippin' Rabbit Hole, all things Mandela.
Right, I'm trying to see. Yeah, it is once a month, and but yeah, I don't. Actually, here's a link
to talk about anything. It doesn't have to be Mandela. And he has such a joyous personality, and he just looks at everything with an open mind. So he has got to have the most Mandela effects for a single channel, don't you think, Shane?
Yeah. Oh, Mandela Monthly is what it is.
Mandela Monthly.
Yeah. And that's awesome because nobody's covered this phenomenon like him as far as individual changes and having people vote on them and examining them. I always send everybody, you just got to go to Moneybags if you just want to see a whole list of things and just check things out and see if, it's really the next best thing the first best thing before having to go to like a website and look at a list. I mean, just to go look through his videos.
Oh
You
my
can,
God. It's
yeah,
like it's like Mandela University. If
yeah,
someone's new to the Mandela effect, you just go, hey, start with money bags,
yeah,
and you will know the Mandela effects if you just sit down and watch his videos for a couple of hours. And one day you'll be totally up to speed.
absolutely, yeah. And I'll email him all the time. I'm like, I'm just gonna run this one by you. You could do something with it if you want. So he's like the first person I reach out to because he's got such a great following. And of
Yeah.
course, Eva from Once Upon a Timeline.
Once Upon a Timeline. I really like her. I think she does it once a week where she goes on for 2 or 3 hours. She does
Mm-hmm.
like a live stream and then she opens up her computer and starts looking at things like changed animals and changed geography and changed human anatomy. And you kind of like explore the Mandela effect in real time with her, with Eva on Once Upon a Timeline. It's great.
Oh
Great.
yeah. And of course, she's a co-moderator for this Reddit for the Mandela Effect as well.
Oh,
Yeah. Large Mandela Effect social media board named Retcon. I've been on that one before, quite a few times. That looks familiar. So she does that, and so that's awesome. It's nice to know she's working on the board, actually.
yeah, because if they get rude over there, you can go tell on them. You can go straight to Eva.
That's right. And of course, Lauren Cannell Pavelka, she's going to actually be on in the next few days.
Good.
She's actually going to, she's been dealing with a lot of health issues and stuff. She's been having seizures lately, so she wanted to come on and talk about that. But she's getting one of those EEGs put on her head. I was just talking to her earlier, and she says, you know what? I want to come on the show while I have these electrodes
Oh my
connected to my head
gosh.
and talk about this. And then for anybody that's needing any kind of healing or whatever, please listen to last night's love stream to Cornelius. Listen to his testimony, and he has an offer towards the end for healers for the people
Wow.
that on the channel here. So I'm going to see if I can get him to give her one of his remote healings while she's wearing these electrodes on her head, because I want to see what it does to the
Yeah,
readout. And I'm like, hey, this is like, we need to take advantage of her having these electrodes on her head, and
absolutely.
that would be really neat data to collect kind of by accident, or
You can have her meditate while she's
hmm
got the electrodes on her head and see what her brain waves do while she's meditating.
yeah, so she'll actually get to see what it was like while she was on the air discussing Mandela effects and trippy things like that, what it was like while she was meditating and he was performing this vibrational healing that he does remotely, Cornelius from last night's show. So yeah, if you need any kind of healing
Wow.
or anything, please
So
check out last night's show. It was, yeah,
she
go
can
ahead.
connect the electrodes to a monitor, and you can see real
Well,
life.
Well, she says that they give her a machine. They connect it up to her head, all the little electrodes everywhere, and then she has a machine she carries around that records it. So she doesn't get to see the actual readout real time, but she'll be able to mark the time. Like, I got a healing at noon. What was it doing at noon? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Because she's supposed to keep a journal of whenever she gets upset or has any strange sensations or whatever, so they can correlate it with the data in the recorder, the
Oh, I
EEG
want,
recorder.
I want to see that. I need to see that.
Yeah, that would be nice. So I don't know if
Great.
she'll
She
have
wrote a
access.
book, didn't she? The Mandela Effect: Why I Am the Wolf and You Are Too. What a great title.
Oh yeah, yep. It's the Mandela effect or the miracle effect.
That's
13 Reasons Why I Am the Wolf and You Are Too.
yeah.
It's awesome. So
I
we'll
need
be meeting up with her.
to.
Jan Ingalls Smith, of course. She is a shaman, and she's has a history in psychotherapy. I actually worked with her to do her presentation a few days ago. It's awesome. So I'm looking forward to everybody seeing her and meeting her, and I'd love to get her on the show soon too.
Oh, that'd be great. And Shane Robinson himself.
Who is this guy?
Shane Cornelius. Wait, is it Cornelius? Did I get it right? Cornell. Shane
Cornell.
Cornell Robinson.
That's funny you said that, because last night's guest was Cornelius, and I used to make a joke and say my name was Shane Cornelius, even though it's Shane Cornell. I was named
Oh
after
gosh, I
Cornell
think
University.
Cornelius was like also in like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer as a child growing up. You must have heard Cornelius in that movie.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. So awesome, you guys. Let me come back
So we
to
didn't leave
you.
anybody off. Are you at you're the end of that list? We haven't forgotten anybody.
Yeah, I'm the bottom.
Yeah,
UOTF.
best for the last. We all know.
Oh, you're so nice. Well, I love you guys so much. Thanks again, Paulo, for coming. You're still muted, by the way. Okay.
Thanks, Paulo.
Well, thanks, guys. I love being in the show. Love talking to you.
Yeah, let's do it again, like maybe right after the conference here in another month or so. I'd love to talk more about the law of one and all sorts of stuff. So we'll do it. We won't wait so long this time, Paulo. Maybe we can get Vanessa with us next time. That'd be awesome.
That would be super.
Great.
All right, you guys. Lots of love to all of you guys in the chat and watching later, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.
Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.